my God.
In the late hours of October 28, 2025, the quiet night across western Turkey shattered into chaos. A 6.1 magnitude earthquake struck the Sindirgi district of Balıkesir province, a region home to hundreds of thousands, sending frightened families running into the streets as buildings shook violently around them. The tremor hit at just under 4 miles deep, a shallow strike that made the shaking even more intense. Alarms blared. Power flickered. Dogs barked wildly as residents grabbed loved ones and fled into the cold darkness. This quake was powerful enough to be felt more than 90 miles away in Istanbul and across the Aegean in Greece, rattling island towns like Lesvos. And as aftershocks continue to roll through the region, tonight, fear spreads faster than the ground can settle. Turkey, a nation shaped by earthquakes, is once again reminded how quickly life can change beneath its feet.
Antakya burası şu an. Yıkım.
The quake struck at 10:48 p.m. local time, catching millions in their most vulnerable moment at home, many already asleep. In Sindirgi, where the shaking was strongest, at least 3 buildings collapsed, including a small shop and apartment blocks already weakened by previous tremors. Concrete crumbled windows exploded outward, and dust clouds swallowed narrow streets. Residents sprinted barefoot into the open, parents carrying children, elderly, guided by neighbors, some too shocked to speak. Several people were injured while trying to escape, tripping on stairs or debris as they rushed outside. Hospitals across Balıkesir activated emergency protocols within minutes, treating cuts, broken bones, and severe anxiety. Video shared on social media paints the scene vividly, alarms blaring the ground, still rumbling with aftershocks as terrified crowds gathered under streetlights. It felt like a giant was shaking the building to tear it apart, was survivors said, while wrapped in a blanket provided by first responders. Electricity outages darkened several neighborhoods, and phone networks briefly struggled under the surge of calls. Meanwhile, search and rescue teams rushed in from surrounding districts carrying specialized equipment to check unstable structures and locate anyone still trapped. As the night wore on, one fear lingered above all. What if the next aftershock is stronger? As the shaking stopped, the real chaos began. Aftershocks rippled through Balıkesir like cruel reminders that the danger was far from over. Families huddled together in open fields, parking lots, and school courtyards, anywhere away from the threat of collapsing walls. Some wrapped in coats, others clutching pillows or bags, grabbed in a panic. Emergency sirens echoed through the streets as firefighters and medical crews fanned out under the glow of flashlights and headlights. Search teams used drones and trained dogs to sweep the hardest-hit buildings in Sindirgi, calling out into broken concrete and twisted rebar, hoping for responses. Airports in Istanbul and Izmir temporarily paused operations for runway checks, and rail services slowed as engineers inspected tracks and bridges. Even more concerning gas leaks were detected in several buildings, forcing fire crews to shut off utilities to prevent explosions. Parents tried to soothe frightened children who kept asking the same question: will it happen again? For those who lived through the catastrophic 2023 quakes, the shaking reignited trauma they hoped to forget. Survivors described the same terrifying sound, like a freight train roaring beneath their feet, and the same chilling realization that homes offer no guarantees in a region where the earth constantly shifts. Through fear and exhaustion, One truth united everyone: staying alert could mean staying alive.
Este edificio se movió horrible.
When the shaking finally stopped, silence wasn't comfort, it was fear. Families poured into the streets wearing pajamas, clutching children, scanning the night sky, as if another disaster might strike at any second. For millions, the terror wasn't just about the damage. It was a reminder of trauma they've lived through before. In Sindirgi, where the quake hit hardest, more than 20 people were injured. Not from collapsing roofs, but from tripping and falling as they ran for safety. Parents carried crying kids. Elderly residents leaned on neighbors as the cold October air filled with sirens and dust. Hospitals shifted into emergency mode. Doctors treated cuts, fractures, and panic attacks. Psychological first aid teams were dispatched because in Turkey, emotional wounds can be just as deep as physical ones. The memory of 2023's twin megaquakes, which killed over 53,000 people, remains a scar no one has healed from. Across the region, schools transformed into shelters. Volunteers handed out blankets, water, and warm tea. People huddled around phone screens watching news updates, praying they wouldn't learn of friends or relatives among the missing. The buildings may not all have fallen, but in the dark, with aftershocks rippling beneath their feet, every resident of Western Turkey felt the same chilling truth. Their world can change in a single violent minute. And tonight, it nearly did.
Videonun ilk ışıkları. Bir Allah'ın kulu. Evet, mutlu.
Within minutes of the quake, Turkey's emergency system surged into action. Sirens echoed across Balıkesir province as search and rescue teams fanned out to the worst-hit neighborhoods. Firefighters combed through collapsed storefronts, while paramedics guided the injured toward triage tents set up in parking lots and open fields. Drones scanned rooftops for anyone trapped or signaling for help. Interior Minister Ali Yerlikaya confirmed that disaster response units had deployed from surrounding provinces equipped with thermal cameras, cutting tools, and search dogs trained for earthquake zones. Military trucks rolled into Sindirgi, delivering generators, lighting towers, and mobile kitchens to support overnight operations. The priority: locate the missing treat, the injured, and secure dangerous structures before more walls gave way. Across the country, engineers and structural inspectors raced to assess damaged apartment buildings. Residents were told not to return home without official clearance, a painful instruction, but one that could save lives as hundreds of aftershocks rumble beneath Turkey each week. Communication was strained at first with power outages and patchy cell coverage, but emergency radio broadcasts kept the public informed. In Istanbul and Izmir, city governments opened evacuation centers for anyone afraid to sleep indoors. Turkey has trained for nights like this. Its people know the drills, the risks, and the importance of acting fast. Because when the earth moves, every second counts.
Allah'ım her yer yıkıldı. Allah'ım Allah.
Meydandaydım ben, ev yıkıldı ya.
Allah. Deprem oluyor.
Turkey sits on one of the most dangerous geological intersections on Earth, where the Eurasian plate, Anatolian plate, and Arabian plate collide and grind against each other. This constant pressure doesn't disappear. It builds silently beneath the surface until the Earth snaps. That snap is what struck Sindirgi. Preliminary data from seismologists shows the 6.1 magnitude earthquake ruptured along a shallow fault only about 6 miles deep. The shallower the quake, the more violently the ground shakes, which is why this tremor was felt across a huge area, including Istanbul, nearly 200 miles away, and even parts of Greece. Experts are especially alarmed by the pattern behind this event. More than 12,000 tremors have rattled western Turkey since August, a sign that tectonic stress is shifting along nearby faults. Some geologists warn this could be redistributing pressure toward the North Anatolian Fault, the very fault responsible for the catastrophic 1999 Izmit earthquake that killed over 17,000 people. While Monday's earthquake wasn't the strongest Turkey has seen, scientists agree it was a warning, a reminder that the clock is still ticking toward a potentially devastating quake near Istanbul, a megacity of 15 million people. Nature gave a preview. The question now is whether the region will be ready when the next one hits. As dawn breaks over Balıkesir, the shaking has stopped, but the fear hasn't. Families sit wrapped in blankets outside their homes, staring at cracked walls, and wondering if they'll ever feel safe inside them again. For Turkey, this earthquake is not an isolated event. It's part of a painful pattern. More than 12,000 tremors have rattled this region in just the past 80 days, each one tightening the tension beneath the country's most populated cities. Scientists warn that the pressure building along the North Anatolian Fault is a stark reminder of what may lie ahead, especially for Istanbul, a city of more than 15 million perched on seismic instability. Strengthening infrastructure isn't just a goal, it's a race against time. Yet even in fear, resilience rises. Communities help each other. Volunteers distribute food blankets and warm tea. Neighbors become first responders long before sirens arrive. This quake is a message written by the earth itself. Preparedness saves lives. Complacency kills. The technology exists: stricter building codes, early warning systems, rapid response. The question now is whether action will come before the next fault line does. Because the ground will shake again. The only unknown is when. Tonight, as Turkey recovers from another violent reminder of the planet's power, one truth echoes across the cracked streets of Balıkesir. The world is changing, and nature is growing louder. Fault lines wait beneath our feet, silent until the moment they roar to life. In seconds, everything familiar becomes fragile. But this story is not just about Turkey. Earthquakes, hurricanes, floods, wildfires. Disasters are no longer distant tragedies. They reach across borders. They reshape lives. And they challenge us to stay aware, informed, and prepared. We stand with the people of Turkey as they rebuild. Their strength is a lesson to us all. Resilience is born, not when things are easy, but when the ground shakes beneath us. Thank you for watching and staying engaged with the world we share. If stories like this matter to you, if you believe awareness saves lives, if you want to stay prepared for the forces shaping our planet, support this channel. Like, share, and subscribe for ongoing coverage of the events that define our time. Because understanding disaster is the first step in surviving it. Stay informed, stay ready, stay safe.